this episode of Rich from Birth, I have my special and lovely guest, Christina Thomas. How you doing today, Christina?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I would just say, like, tell the people about a little bit about what you do. I know you're a therapist. Um, I really want to know. I'm kind of curious about something I just saw actually. I saw on your page you said something about your self worth was never up for grabs or up for debate or something like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, can you break that down for me a little bit? Well, for the audience.
Yeah, sure. So that's kind of like the ethos of my work and my messaging and how I approach therapy with clients. And it's essentially built on the belief that you are worthy, deserving, enough, and lovable as you are, regardless of the conditions being met or not. And it's something that I stumbled upon in my own healing journey and working with others when we really start to get into those internal dialogues and understanding patterns of behavior and why we do what we do,
Hmm.
that there is this core belief system that we're operating from. And I like to say we're either operating from, I am worthy, deserving, enough, and lovable as I am, or I'm not worthy, deserving, enough, and lovable as I am. And so, helping clients identify when they are operating from that I'm not space and how to show up from the I am space and create their lives through their choices, behavior, and decisions from that grounded space of knowing their worth so that they are in alignment with what God, source, higher power has for them.
Hmm. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. And honestly, I'm glad you touched on that because, like, just for anybody who's wondering, like, why I have you on the show, it's because of that reason. Like, I'm glad you kind of confirmed that because, like, my whole mission is to highlight people like yourself, people like myself that are, doing God's work. Ultimately, we aren't putting the paper first. We're gonna get that money though, but you know what I'm saying? That's not first. You feel me? That's not the priority. The priority is helping people, you know what I mean? Serving others. And there's not a lot of people out here that have that, you know what I mean, that have that distinction. So you were one of the people who I felt from afar, just watching your whole, movement. You were one of the people that I said, you know what? I want to have her on, you know what I'm saying? Because she seemed like one of me, you know? So yeah, I'm glad you said that because you kind of just confirmed what I already kind of, felt.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you could pick up on that vibe through the screen because I was, wondering like, is my message really reaching the people? Do people really see what I'm trying to offer, and really helping guide them to themselves, to the God within and that deep inner knowing so that they can ultimately live a soul fulfilling life and not just a worldly one.
Mm, that sounds like an ad right there. You might want to chop that one up right there. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just drop that little time step for you right there. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that. So is that important to you though? Like, is that really like when you said like I don't like to keep saying like, but I'm thinking as I'm finna say what I'm about to say. Um, Is that important as far as when you said your messaging? Like, is people really understanding and grasping what you really are trying to do? Like, how important is that to you? And like, why is that important to you, or not important?
Yeah. So it's like a double-edged sword. It's important to me because I want to make sure that I'm planting the right seeds to help people reflect on their own experiences and their own internal realities and why they do what they do, uh, so they can shift into more alignment. But then, we all have a little bit of ego within us. It's like, oh, I want to make sure that, the messaging is coming across and I'm being perceived how I want to be perceived. But ultimately, when I check that part of me, it's like the goal is to make sure that those who are meant to receive it to channel through the wisdom and the guidance that I have obtained in my profession through my lived experience and have faith that those who are meant to receive it and understand it will,
Yeah.
you know, and so ultimately it's,
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. So like have you always been like this amazing? Like how did you grow up? Like what made you like what shaped you like early on? Like what shaped you to become, who you are now?
yeah. Um, I don't know, like if you get into a little bit of the astrology, I was say I'm a Capricorn.
I heard a lot about y'all. Yeah. Number of good things though. Yeah.
Oh, I was born 50 years old, but I grew up in a, dysfunctional environment like many people, and just being aware of the dysfunction, and I think not recognizing it young, but having a gift for seeing the patterns, and just really being like, okay, this is not how I want my life to turn out, and seeing how my parents were and their lack of, I guess, responsibility, or them struggling with their own demons, and the pressure put on my grandmother to keep everything afloat. So it was just like, okay, I see this. This isn't what I want, and I'm gonna work hard to not recreate these dynamics and patterns. And because my parents weren't there necessarily to help guide, and my grandmother was working all the time, and I grew up in a house. I got my siblings and a bunch of people in the house, but um, I was really left to my own devices and trying to figure out how to maneuver in the world. And so that gift of pattern recognition and just being very observant, um, it just helped me kind of spot out certain things. And not to say that I didn't get, as I got older, trying to, like, oh, how do you make friends and how do you engage with different groups as you get older, and dealing with the opposite sex and all that stuff, going through my lessons and really
Don't
getting
we
to
all? Don't
yeah,
we all?
getting to a space where I could recognize the parts of me that were running.
Hmm.
And
That's key.
yeah, I could recognize the parts of me that were running. And I think, and that's
From
from my own pain. I could my own pain, my own insecurities, my own fears. And I think, and I can speak from women's perspective, like romantic relationships are definitely like initiators into evolution and higher uh, levels of conscious awareness. And so
say
there
that
was,
one more time. You just hit me with the TI expeditiously. So you said when you said women, you said initiate. What? Say that again.
yeah, so like um, being initiated into, or like higher levels of consciousness and awareness. So the initiation is the waking up, the taking, growing up, maturing more emotionally, um, intellectually, but more so the emotional part of it. And so the initiation, the push to grow emotionally, and becoming aware of those dysfunctional patterns that kind of were still unconscious. It's like you're conscious of it, but you're not really like taking action in your choices, behavior, and decisions to change it, or at least you. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, but or at least
Oh,
you,
we here.
or at least you think you're taking the right actions, but then you kind of level up in your awareness of like motivation behind the motivation. So it's like, oh, I thought I was doing this from a place of self-respect and self-love, but was really motivating me showing up this way was this like fear and insecurity or whatever it may be.
Mm.
Yeah.
I saw, I don't know if you were done with your thought.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I saw something that you had just said that kind of spoke to that. You were saying like you're not you're not self-aware. You just running from something. Something is you said,
Oh, yeah. It sounds like something I said.
yeah, like man, you're not self-aware. You really just running from I think you said running from yourself. Something. Or so from emotional something like that. Like you're not self-aware. You're just running from emotion. Let me see. I'll go second to it.
Yeah. That must have been one of my story posts.
Yeah, let me see. You're not self-aware. You're engaging in emotional bypassing.
Ah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly. So, and there's levels to awareness, you know, and so for that version of you, that is the most conscious you are. Um, but if you really sit with yourself and sit in the discomfort, more clarity comes. And a lot of times we don't like to sit in the discomfort. So we just take that surface, surface level awareness because it soothes us or makes us feel better. And we,
A lot of cognitive dissonance too.
yeah, for sure, a lot of cognitive dissonance there. And so and sitting in it a little bit longer, you get closer to the root, and then you can you become more aware because now you're aware of motivation behind motivation.
Like, what's your relationship like with money? You know what I'm saying? How do you how do you view success like beyond money?
Okay. So how I view success beyond money, um, I want to say it's an ever evolving relationship. Because it ultimately boils down to the relationship I have with myself and my ability to operate from that place within me that knows I'm worthy, deserving, enough, and lovable as I am. How can I use that knowing, being rooted in that belief system to, show up in the world through my choices, actions, behavior, and decisions?
Mhm.
And the more I'm able to do that, the more successful I feel. So it's really rooted in that, in doing the internal work, and how the external manifest is how it manifests.
Mm.
Do I want certain things? Do I have certain desires? Of course. But on this journey, I have learned and I continue to learn the art of detachment and just, that will be done, whatever is in my best interest, regardless of what my ego may want, regardless of how I may want to show up or have the world reflect back to me my worth. I will die to that so
Mm.
that the internal stuff is in alignment. It's not easy, but it's the path I've chosen.
For sure. The one thing well, two things I would say that I took from what you said is that like in my book, I have a book called The Richard Pryor Science. It's more like like I said, science. It's more like a science than a book to me. It's like my mindset in a book. And one of the how I define manifestation is feeling internal certainty without seeking external validation. So you kind of just, you know what I'm saying? You spoke directly to that. And one of the concepts that are principles that I have in the book on how to manifest, I'm giving out some real game here that people are paying for, but I'm gonna get it anyway because I love to do it. But I have a 5D formula to like manifestation, and you touched on that too. That's why I want to bring it up. But the first D is desire. Like you got to know what it is that you want. You know, you got to know. A lot of people don't even know what they want. So how you gonna manifest something you don't even know what you want? Like a lot of people, like if you really ask them like what they want, they ain't gonna be like, well, you know what I'm saying? And like, nah, I don't. Like, you know, you ain't saying nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like first step is knowing what you want, desire. The second D is decide. Now, once you realize what it is that you want, decide that you are already that. Decide, you know what I mean? Decide that you are already the person that has that or does that or is that. You know, and after that, the third D is to detach, like you said. So the third D, detach, meaning after you have made that decision internally, your external situation is going to disagree with everything that you're saying, you know? But that's when you detach emotionally from being emotionally dependent on this to validate what you already decided that you are, you know what I mean, internally. So then once you do that, once you detach, the fourth D is discipline. Now you have to discipline that attachment because yeah, it's one thing to do it one day. You know what I'm saying? It's another thing to just maintain that level of frequency and self-concept, you know, on a continuous basis. So after you do that, after that discipline is instilled, now you have the last D, which is delivery.
Mm.
Whatever it is that you say that you desire to be, do, or have, it will be delivered to you because it's you. You are a cooperative component of it at this point. From the first four Ds, you have become a cooperative component to the thing. So it has no choice but to be delivered to you because it sees you as it sees itself, like attracts like, you know? So I just wanted to break that down because it's like you really just said some things. And I don't know if you know exactly the order, you know what I mean? But you said it, you know. So I just want to add a little context to it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's like so like spot on to the internal process. You know, what is the desire that has been placed on you and honing your discernment in that desire. Because a lot of times we think it's what we desire, but it's really an ego desire. But is it a soul aligned desire?
Mm,
Um, and I think, again, I think the third D was detachment.
yes, ma'am.
When you can hone that discernment, can you detach from the ego desire and align with the, soul desire
Mm.
and then take the action?
So this one for me, how do you determine the difference in between? Like, what's a good like rule of thumb to be able to say, okay, that's ego. Okay, this is soul.
Yeah. So I get curious, and I ask myself, is this coming from the part of me that knows that I'm worthy, deserving, enough, and lovable as I am, or is this coming from the part of me that doesn't know that?
Mm.
And I spend a lot of time in meditation, and
Same.
so you know, you get to a point where you know it in your body. You know when you're hitting truth within you, that little tinge or sting or that resistance. Your body is always like in the present, communicating with you, while your mind is always in the past, even if the past was 2 seconds ago. And so it's having that. I like to um, equate discernment to radical honesty. What is the body communicating? And if I'm honest with myself, oh, I really want this because I feel a lack and I want to be perceived a certain way or whatever. I'm reaching for that external validation versus versus like I know I am, like I this is who I know I am to be. And if I know I am to be, I don't need to act from a place of desperation or try to force it. I am. I operate from the I am presence.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah, that's that like I was speaking to earlier, my definition of manifestation, that feeling internal certainty. So, okay, so you basically gave me my answer. I already had it, but you just gave it to me. Reaffirmed it. So now I would say moving forward, I can distinguish between the two based on, ego wants to be externally validated, according to what you're saying. And soul is internally certain about, it feels internally certain about whatever this thing is that you know, pondering. So, yeah, yeah, that's a good distinction.
And I want to say it's not necessarily cut and dry because you will feel that tug of war within you. You'll feel the resistance. Your higher self will be telling you to go this way, and your ego, which in a way gets a bad rep because it's just trying to protect you from the thing that you're most afraid of, and shield your most vulnerable parts. And it's just the behaviors and beliefs and self-concept that you have adapted along the way to protect your most vulnerable parts, right? And so it's recognizing that tug of war within, how, and offering the part of you that is afraid the compassion, um, and using that compassion as a bridge to take action for where the higher self is trying to get you to go.
Mm.
That makes
It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. So, like, what are your values when it comes to people, business, and integrity?
people, business, and integrity. Well, I'm going to, steal from the Air Force. Integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all you do.
Mhm.
That's like their
Awesome.
creative motto, I
Okay.
think. Yeah. Um, so yeah, uh, it's really about, so being on the path that I have chosen, um, to a more spiritual path and operating in integrity and in soul alignment. That is the priority. How the world operates is opposed to that. And so it's just really about staying grounded and showing up. I want to use the word integrity, but from a place of integrity, from a place of alignment, whether it's whether it feel good or not, choosing your discomfort in that way, and just really allowing that to shine through in all areas. So I hope I answered the question.
No, for sure. That's your answer. Absolutely. So, what does being rich before the money mean to you?
Oh, being rich before the money means having a healthy, loving relationship with self.
Mhm.
Like, there's a modality in therapy, that talks about parts work and the different parts of yourself. And so, really being able to cultivate a compassionate relationship with all parts of yourself, really being able to cultivate unconditional love with all of you, knowing that, again, you're worthy, deserving, enough, and lovable as you are, regardless of the conditions being met or not, is, what success and all that means before the money. The money, the money will come and go, but your relationship with you, that's, that's always. So that should be the priority.
Absolutely. I like that. I've been playing with that priority word lately because my brand is Richard Pryor, so I've been playing with that priority, and it's been doing me some good. I'm glad you just reflected that back to me like that. I appreciate you. So, what shifted for you internally that led to your external results? I think you kind of spoke about it a little earlier.
It all comes back to that belief system, recognizing the patterns and being honest with myself about what was the motivators behind the motivators, and the mirror for me that really like propelled me on the journey, dating, trying to be in romantic partnership, and recognizing that all relationships are a mirror, and they will reflect back to you the good, the bad, the ugly, and it will be a lot of bad in the ugly, and you can choose to engage in clean pain or dirty pain. Clean pain is you taking accountability for your stuff and using it to help you grow, and the dirty pain is you running and avoiding accountability and keeping the cycles going. So choosing the clean pain and let letting God do what he does.
Hmm. I like that. I like that phrase, clean pain and dirty pain.
I
That's
can't credit for it. There's a book that I like to, oh, it's blurry, that I like to share with couples because I do couples work, and it's called Monsters in Love: Why Your Partner Sometimes Drives You Crazy and What You Can Do About It. And it's written by Resma McKinn. I'm saying his name wrong, but he talks about that in this book, and it's just something that like it sticks with me. I
put it in front of your face. It might show then. Monsters in Love. What it say?
Yeah. Monsters in Love. I recommend this all the time.
I'm gonna have to look into that one.
Yeah.
What lessons do most people overlook when chasing success? Whether that's in like relationships, like you was just speaking about, or money, financially, whatever it may be. Like, what's some lessons that people just kind of tend to overlook?
Hmm. How do I want to put this into words? The journey, that is not about getting what you want and avoiding what you don't want. It's about coming home to yourself. It's about really cultivating that unconditional love for yourself and allowing that to manifest through your choices, behavior, and decisions, and really co creating with that which is greater than yourself. Not trying to control everything. It's not about things being perfect and you never experiencing discomfort, pain, or suffering, but how you are able to cultivate a relationship with those things, and to continue to show up day in and day out.
Mm. Learning how to dance in the rain.
Learn how to dance in the rain.
Yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got as from listening to what you're saying. That's what it said to me. Like learning how to dance in the rain. And I've learned how to do my little 1-2. My 1-2 step in the rain, man. Not wanting it. You feel me? But I mean, I don't not want it either because I know exactly just from going through certain things in my life. I've learned that that's where the growth is. That's where, that's the processing of becoming what it is that internally I already am.
For sure. I think discomfort gets a bad rep, you know. Oh, no negative energy. Oh, I don't want to experience any of these like uncomfortable things, but that's where the magic happens. That's where you get to flex that muscle. That's where all the learning takes place.
Since we know what you do now, what's your approach to what you do that like what separates you from other people that may be in your space, other therapists that may be in your space? Like what's your uniqueness about what you do?
Yeah. I'll say what separates me, but I feel like more therapists are starting to lean in this direction.
Yeah.
But just not bypassing the realities of life, not bypassing discomfort, not using therapy as a means to put a band aid
Mm.
on things, or kind of be in denial in a way. And so, really being able to help clients look at their pain points, not from a place of defect, but from a place of like empowerment. Like these are the seeds that can help you become the best version of you that you can possibly be in this lifetime, instead of allowing it to feed into a victim consciousness of like, oh, this is what I got going on, or this is my diagnosis, woe is me energy, and then kind of regurgitating that victim consciousness throughout. the sessions and you've been in therapy for like 3 years and you haven't seen any change and just really not focusing on,
The root.
yeah, not focusing on the root, but not like trying to appease the victim. I
Yeah,
don't do that victims.
yeah,
Victim.
yeah.
Like I see you, I hear you. Let's see how we can change our relationship to those parts of ourselves to a more loving, compassionate, empowering one so that you create a newer, healthier identity and can start to embody, integrate, and create create a better life for yourself instead of recreating the past um, narratives and storylines.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
It does. It does. Why do you think, like, why do you think therapists do that? Like, why do you think they appease the client and enable like victim mentality, like you said?
I think it can be easy to fall into that trap if one, and I think this is going to be the biggest thing. If the therapist hasn't cultivated their own healthier relationship with themselves, it's harder to sit in the discomfort and the pain of someone else if it's triggering your stuff and you're always running. So,
So
I
the
think,
therapist need a therapist.
yeah, and most therapists have therapists. It's best practice actually, and there's other practices like peer supervision and things like that to help the therapist navigate being a container for a lot of people's pain and unconsciousness, but if you are still running from a good amount of stuff within yourself and your client comes to session and is going through that, being, aware, it's very, if you're not on it and aware, you can fall into the trap of trying to avoid their stuff because you're avoiding your stuff because you're uncomfortable
Mm,
in their stuff. That mirror thing. Our relationships are a mirror.
absolutely. So that's a major key right there. So would you would you say that a therapist would actually need to, I don't know if need is the right word, but I'm gonna go with it. Would you say that therapists need to fully heal themselves internally first before they attempt to heal others to better, you know what I mean, to better serve them based on what you're saying? Like it's like if they're not fully healed, they're going to do a kind of like a disservice to the people that serve them because they can only lead them as far as they've led themselves, right?
Mhm. I think fully healed, I wouldn't I wouldn't say fully healed, but I do think that the therapist has a level of responsibility in knowing what their capacity is, and if they've taken the client as far as they can take the client, then they need to refer out, and yeah, they need to refer out if they can only take the client but so far. But as a therapist, you should you should be, consistently engaging in the work within yourself so that you can be aware of your patterns, your triggers, um, and being in that process of have cultivating a healthy relationship with yourself so that you can be a clearer channel for the person in front of you.
For sure, for sure.
I don't think anyone is ever like, you're never back to ground zero, right? Life happens and you're constantly evolve if you so choose. People be fighting it, but you're constantly being asked to grow and evolve. And so, fully healed, is that such a thing? I don't think so, but you should be, working on, practicing what you preach, working on having that better relationship with yourself so that you can be a clearer channel.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked that is because of what kind of what you just said, like practice what you preach. Because for me in the work that I do, it's like I can't sit here and say that I can help people become rich before they get the money, if I haven't done that myself. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said it. I use the words that I use. Like you can only lead people as far as you've led yourself. I was my first client, and that's one principle that I teach my clients. Like you are your first client. You
For
know,
sure.
and that gives you the confidence to sit in front of other people and know that
Mhm.
like I know, like, yeah, you may have a different context, but same concept still, and you could call it versus, I don't know, I haven't been through what you're saying that you're experiencing, but I'm still sitting there, what they call it, a massaging or something, like basically like soothing their pain, you know what I mean? Really, and that it's not really doing them a service. And like you said, that's where you're supposed to have that sense of honesty and mindfulness enough to be like, hey, this is the furthest I can take you, um,
Mhm.
but I can refer you to here. You know what I mean? And they can take you further for where your specific journey is going. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that's important in our line of work of like serving people. And kind of to me, the reason why I asked that too is because I kind of feel like it has like a certain money undertone to it because it's like you want them to still become your client. You want them to still, you want to, you know what I mean? You want to still keep that business relationship with them. You want to maintain this money coming in. So you're going to, fake it with them and you shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? You shouldn't. Like you should be able to be in a secure enough position to say, nah, like I said earlier, like this is about helping the people as much as I can. And if this comes into a memory I had in a relationship that I was in, where it's like even if even if you ain't with me, if that's the help, then that's my help.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the help I offer you is like by not being with you. That's
Exactly.
that's the best thing for you right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely that whole piece of like, oh, if I lose them as a client, then that affects my, money coming in, and that gets into the bigger, systems and society and structures that are in place there that feed off that are extracted and feed off of the consumer. But like integrity first. I can't say I'm a person of integrity or that's something that I value and my actions don't
Line up.
line up. And it's not about perfection, and at all, but it's just like when you get those little nudges of like, okay, like it's time for you to show up and do the right thing, or like, those calls or pulls to show up in certain ways in which you say you value having faith in doing it, even if temporarily it sets you back. It's just a setback. What's the saying? The setback for the come up, or whatever that saying is.
Yeah. Pick it up. Pick it up. Put it down. I say it another way. I say you got to be willing to don't what I say, don't sacrifice the people in order to save the money.
Mm, yeah,
Sacrifice the money to save the people.
yeah, for sure.
And that again goes back to what I was just saying. Like I can't sit in front of people saying that and if I ain't never did that. You know what I mean? I've done that many times enough to make it a principle. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it's a real thing to be able to look at something that you may need too. and be like, dang, you know what I'm saying? And it's right there, but it's like, nah, that just kind of don't sit right with me because I know I ain't it for what they want right now. You know what I'm saying? So before I, just go down that rabbit hole, and I think for me it's like my name. Like my name means more to me than a potential money grab. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I grabbed the money, but now my name messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Now, and I don't like that. Like, I want my name to, you know what I mean, hold weight in people's mind. I'm real big on that. Like, on the littlest things, like, I want my name to hold weight. But would you say? Because my next question would be like, what are people getting wrong? Like, what are people in your field getting wrong right now? What are the therapists, getting wrong? Would you say that was it, or is it something
Mm,
specific?
hmm.
Because you said that's what separates you from other people,
Yeah.
other therapists. But what are other therapists like actually getting wrong?
I'm trying to see what drops into my spirit.
It's not.
I would go back to, I'm reminded of a client who is just graduated with their master's to become a therapist, right? And so thinking about a fresh graduate coming into the field, the idea that you have to be perfect,
Mm.
that you have to have all the answers, and that, you know, in a like your job is to make someone's life better, to be this almost like savior in a way.
Right.
Um, and recognizing when that, I don't call it a complex, but recognizing when that's the motivator,
Mhm.
and really taking a step back and in a way kind of humbling yourself and like, no one is perfect. I don't have to be perfect at this. My job is not to, you know, to heal people and I want to say like and play God in a sense, but like just the idea that you have to be perfect. And if you are working with a client and they're still struggling and you've given it all that you've got, that is not like a direct reflection of your worth as a therapist, that it's okay. It's okay to not be perfect. I guess I'm going in circles, but
No, you good.
yeah.
It's okay to not be perfect. Yeah, that's a universal. That's a universal gem right there. Because you just, like I said earlier, you teaching me something for real, for real.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can just be so. I don't want to say hard on yourself, but I guess that's probably the closest thing to say. Um, Sometimes you can be so hard on yourself that you just want to get it. You just want to get it right. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to get it all the way right. And I think now that I just said that, I think sometimes getting it wrong is getting it right because so many people, including myself, sometimes we focus on trying to get it so perfect and so right that we may postpone even actually doing anything because you're trying to perfection it, perfectionalize it if that's a word in your mind. You know what I'm saying? And you just really analysis paralysis for real. You really just paralyzed. You ain't even moving. So it's like another concept, another law in my book, shameless plug, that you grow as you go.
For sure.
You grow as you go, and that growth comes from getting it wrong. so you can get it right.
Yeah.
You know? But if you so what I call precious on trying to be perfect and trying to be right, then you will never get it wrong enough to get it right, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
That makes perfect sense.
yeah.
That perfection is just another avoidance, an avoidant tactic. You know, what is really motivating the desire for perfection? The fear of failure. Oh, the fear of failure sends what message to me about me, that I'm not enough, that I'm not, filling all the blanks.
100%.
So you try to, ill intent or not, control and manipulate circumstances, people, places, and things, to get that external
Validation.
validation, to get the world to reflect back to you who you are.
Hmm.
And you'll just keep going in circles until, you wake up eventually, if that's for you.
That's in the cards for you. If the stars are aligned. So, what's the difference between chasing money versus creating real value?
Mm. Chasing money, when I hear like chasing money, immediately I think of falling out of alignment, falling out of integrity, like I'm hesitant to say, but almost like kind of selling, selling your soul in a way, and that is what, in my mind, when you're not in integrity, you're kind of like in that selling your soul energy.
Absolutely.
It's operating from a place of lack, from a place of not knowing your worth, and was it letting the money come to you? Was that the difference?
Versus creating real value.
Oh, creating real value. Creating real value is doing your best to stay in integrity and alignment, and letting the actions that come from that place ripple out, and truly having an impact. It's People are watching more than they're listening.
Mm, break
You
that
know? So when we look at children, there's oh, now I'm trying to get into theory and it's escaping me. Social model theory or modeling. Modeling is a thing in child development. And it's basically talks about how children learn behavior and they learn how to interact with their environment through watching their caregivers and the objects of attachment in their environment. So we learn through observation more than we learn through what people are saying,
mm,
you know? And so it's about letting letting your actions speak louder than your words, and the impact that that can have. And you may not see the impact of it right away. It may be just small seeds dropped in someone's subconscious, and then years later it just kind of comes to the surface and it helps them out in a random situation. um Versus, again, like chasing means you're willing to sacrifice so much of yourself, and that doesn't really lead. What value does it create? It just recreates the same cycles over and over again. Like, what are we teaching people who are watching how we show up in the world? So hope that
yeah.
makes
I
sense.
mean, they be blinded. They be blinded by the money. They be blinded. So they don't even see the loop, as I call it. That you speaking to. Like they don't even see it because they so focused on
Yeah.
that money.
There's a lot of attachment to it. There's a lot of identity attachment to it. It's like, when I get this money or when I have this out external whatever, then I'll know that I'm worthy, deserving, enough, and lovable as I am. Without it, I don't believe without it, I believe the opposite. So I don't believe I'm worthy, deserving, enough, and lovable as I am. And once I get this money, once I get this job, once I get this relationship, once I get whatever, then I'll know my worth. But you have to, in order to get that thing that you believe will make you feel good about you, how much of you do you have to give up
Mm.
to
Exchange.
get it? You know what I'm saying? And because it's the motivation behind the motivation is lack, all you're recreating is lack, and you just keep cycling around, and yeah, you might get the thing, but then what is it? What good is it for a man to gain the world but lose his soul? Yeah, you'll get it, but very,
It got you. You ain't get it.
exactly.
Yeah, that's the difference, man. A lot of people think they getting money, but really the money getting them. Like you said, it's like what they're not really evaluating or analyzing or paying attention to what they're actually giving in exchange for said thing, said money opportunity. You know what I mean? One thing that you said though that I don't want to miss, you was talking about like, you know, when you creating the value for people, it's really just about basically operating from a certain level of integrity and impacting people. Like even if it isn't like I don't know what exact words you use, but like paying off or reaping anything in return tangibly at the moment or whatever. But later on, you never even know. Like it that may have impact, and you may see results down the line because of the seed planted in someone's subconscious mind. Um, yeah, like when you said that, it made me think about this person that they were potentially going to be a client of mine, but never really ended up becoming a client of mine. But the first interaction that we had, we were talking, and she was working at this spot, and you could tell like based on what she was telling me, she's like, yeah, I'm working here, I'm doing this, but I really do this though. Like this is what I really do, and it's like it'd be funny to me when people tell me stuff like that because that's exactly that's what I do. What I do. You know what I mean? Like, why are you taking the trash out when you said when you was in fourth grade you wanted to be this? You know what I mean? And I have empathy for life and society and how it's all set up. I have empathy for it, but at the same time, I can't. I'm gonna go off into a whole nother tangent if I keep talking about that part. Anyway, um, my point is like when I had the conversation with her, I I don't even remember exactly what I was talking about, but I just remember basically I was just saying like you got to do what you love. Like if this is what you love, this is what you're good at, and you love to do it. Like take a chance. You know what I mean? Like do this. Like, yeah, I know they got this guaranteed money, this check coming every 2 weeks or whatever for you, but look at where that's got you. Like, listen to yourself right now. Like, this don't sound like you having a great time. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, with all of this, with all of the guaranteedness of it all. And well, that was probably almost a year ago. Fast forward to probably about 2 weeks ago, I saw this same lady. She was at this like market. It was like marketplace down here in Atlanta. If you ever come back down there, I'll show you. Like it's a nice little spot for entrepreneurs to kind of like market themselves and make money or whatever. It's like a marketplace. And she was there and she had a tent or whatever. And I was talking to another person who, I talked to or whatever, and she was a business owner too. And I'm sitting there talking to her. And next thing you know, she walked up and she was like, the person who I was talking to was like, "Oh yeah, hey, this is Rich. This he coaches and all that." And she was like, "I know exactly who he is." You know what I'm saying? She's like, I remember, I remember that conversation that we had." And she said that conversation really sparked something in me, and that's why I'm here today, selling what I'm selling right now. And I went over to a tent and I said, "Oh man, this is amazing!" Like I didn't know that the conversation that I had with her that I wasn't getting paid for. None of that was going to lead her or spark something in her brain to actually go and pursue something on
Yeah.
her. You know what I mean? And it was amazing for me to see that. You know what I mean? Like, wow. So that's exactly, absolutely right what you're saying.
That's awesome. I'm glad you got to have that experience and, the impact that it has had on you and just being able to see, like, I might not get the instant gratification. I might not get what in this moment my mind has said I need to get, but it doesn't mean that was in vain or like pointless. Like you just never know the impact that you can have.
It's amazing because I'm learning that, and I think that's one of those shadow works that I've been working on. Because like this is a little bit about my past. I don't know if you know, but like I always speak about it online. Like I sold drugs like my whole childhood all the way up till I was about 25, 26. Like, I never worked a job, none of that. Like all I know was wake up, go get the money. The money was already waiting on me. Like I got missed calls. I just got to call them back. Hey, all right, what you need? All right, I'm on the way. You know, like that. That's was my initial introduction to money.
Okay.
So that's how my mind sees money. You know what I mean? So now that I'm not living that way no more and, becoming a legitimate business owner or became a legitimate business owner, it's like, I kind of find myself in a space sometimes where it be kind of difficult when I don't get nothing and not engage something. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, man, I just served you. You know what I'm saying? I just served you. Where mine at? You know what I'm saying? But it's like like we both saying, like in this space and just in life. You know what I mean? Not even just in business, but just in life. Like it ain't always about getting anything. And it's one principle that I've been telling myself lately is like we are in charge of the bait, but God is in charge of the bite.
Mm, that's good.
You get it?
That down for me.
What you say?
Yeah, break that down.
Okay, so we are in charge of the bait, meaning like we are in charge of doing everything that we need to do to like, you know, become attractive to add the value to the people so they can become attracted to whatever it is that we have for the people. We
Yeah.
are in charge of that part. But it's like the bite is like people actually paying you or whatever the end goal is for what it is that you're offering. You know what I'm saying? Like people actually taking you up on your offer, you know,
Yeah.
and you reeling in that big fish. That's all up on God because again, I'm going back to my book. The desire, that first D in the formula for manifestation, the first D is desire. But what I go in my book is that desire doesn't come from us. We desire comes from God. Actually, the word desire, if you break it down in Latin, D means of or from.
Yeah.
God means Lord. So it's of or from the Lord. You know what I mean? So the desire is from the Lord. It's a reason why fishes desire to eat a worm. I don't desire to eat a worm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These things are already within each creature in creation. You know what I'm saying? These desires are already planted within us.
Yeah.
You know, again, we are in charge of the bait part though. You know what I mean? We are in charge of putting that worm on that hook, throwing it out there and putting it in the right spot and all of that type of stuff we got and authority over. But as far as the fish actually biting that hook, that's all God work.
For
And
sure.
knowing that is the difference maker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Hmm. We got halfway. Too many of us, we want to be in control of the bait and the bite.
Yeah, I mean, I was like that too, because in my past life again, like that was a part of it. Like, I created the desire, but at the same time, like I'm outside. Come, you know what I'm saying? I'm outside your crib. I'm out here. Come check it out. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna make you consume. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna, I know how to create that desire in that life. But in this life, it's like You know, like they say, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. You know what I'm saying? In this life, it's like you can't make people drink. You know, you just gotta lead them to the water, and hopefully, and for real, it's like I'm getting to a space now where I'm understanding that real love, which is what I'm really serving ultimately, real love doesn't really count the cost, and it doesn't require anything in return. Like that's the love I'm expressing these days. Is like I do this because this is who I am. Like you don't gotta give me nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like and people, a couple of my guys, like they like, bro, you tripping. Like how you you know what I'm saying? Like how you saying you gonna do all this? They ain't gotta do nothing. Like, nah. You know, like, nah, you ain't gotta do nothing. Cause I got this. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't do whatever, I'm still straight. You know, not to say that I wouldn't, feel some type of way or whatever, but I'm not doing something in order to get something. I think somebody said that's like a form of manipulation. You know what I mean? When you're doing something for the sole purpose of getting something in return. Like, and I know that that's not an easy thing to do, to get to a point where you can just give freely. I just wrote this the other day. You give freely. If you give freely, freely will be given. Freely you will be given. If you
Yeah.
give freely, freely you will be given. But you ain't sitting there waiting on the freely to be given though, because you freely give. you know, you ain't yeah, you ain't sitting there waiting on the package to arrive. Like, nah,
That's that I don't have faith energy. Yeah. But if you out here and you are operating in integrity and alignment, the opportunities will come, and God will provide, you know.
every time, every time. So, what do you currently have available, like to offer people right now? Like, you have any specials going? You got any offers going? Like, what you got going on for the people?
So, as a mental health therapist, I'm currently licensed to practice therapy in the state of Maryland because that's where I'm from. I'm looking to get licensed in other states, but we'll see. So, my books are currently open. I'm accepting new clients who are seeking mental health services, who's looking for a therapist, whether individual or couples. Uh, yeah. So
And so I was gonna ask you, who was it for, and how can people get started?
yeah. So again, for individuals, so men or women, and then couples, and you can just go to my website, thealignedmindset.com, and you can book a free 15-minute consult from there. We'll meet, we'll talk, get a feel for one another, and if you feel like I'm the therapist for you, then we will move forward with the intake process and schedule a follow-up appointment.
Got you. And then you will send me the link for that so I can put that in the description of the video, right? So they can just click on it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. And then where are you headed personally and professionally? Like what's next for you?
What's next for me? So I am
Personally and professionally.
so professionally because uh, uh, professionally. So I started my practice 2 years ago, and I started out as like self-pay. And I can recognize that I've been a little hesitant in running in that arena. So I've decided to get credentialed with insurance. So I'm in the process of getting credentialed with insurance providers so I can start taking insurance with clients and just really shifting to being like really full time in my practice and growing that potentially to a group practice. And so I'm on that journey, that journey right now. And personally, it's all one and the same. Stepping more into that version of myself that is the business owner, not just the therapist, but the business owner, and expanding the business. Yeah, so.
Nice, nice. So, two questions: the impact you want to make beyond money, and the final advice you got for our audience, and where can people connect with you?
Okay, so I've been echoing this throughout the entire interview, but so it's the same response for both. The impact that I want to leave is that you are worthy, deserving, enough, and lovable as you are, regardless of the conditions being met or not, and that you are your purpose. To boldly say yes to the people, places, and opportunities that reflect back to you that you are enough. And you can find me on my website, thealignedmindset.com, and on social media, Instagram, Christina Thomas, therapist or licensed therapist, I believe. But yeah.
Any advice for the audience?
Any advice for the audience? My advice would be, I don't want to like regurgitate the same thing over again, but the boldly saying yes to the people, places, and opportunities that reflect back to you your worth. Um, Choose your discomfort, choose it wisely, and and I hope that you choose the discomfort that leads to growth and knowing that you're enough.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you showing up and spreading your riches to my audience. And thank you.